Hello, welcome to the L-Zone podcast with me, Latricia Marie. Today, I'm presenting conversations on concepts about love. Our guests vary in ages, gender, and backgrounds, but bring a unifying message about love. Take a listen.
My concept of love pretty much actually started off at a young age when I actually thought of it mainly, buying certain different things for a girl, like on Valentine's Day and things like that. Was the concept.
I guess I would have to answer that in two parts. Okay. I would say in my young adult years, like probably in my 20s, I had a different concept of love.
Okay.
And it was really based off of attraction, feelings, my desire to, maybe one day get married, have children, and it was, kind of what was expected.
The concept of love for me was probably 11 to 12. And I would say it was probably like 5th or 6th grade, something like that. Yeah. Kind of when most guys go through that change where your female friends start to look different to you.
Gotcha.
I think it started with my mom, and just seeing how she cared for me and how she took care of me, or I guess I could say us, my brothers too. So I guess I probably started to develop that really early. Like maybe I remember, things from anywhere between 3 and 5 years of age. Just knowing that, because of what she did and how she did what she did, that this person has a different, not knowing what necessarily what love was at that time, but just understanding that this person feels something deeper for me than everybody else that's in my life.
I kind of looked at love tied into marriage. But as far as, I would say, how I defined love, like in my early 20s, and dating and things like that, it's changed a lot
Since then.
Okay. Yeah, so going into my 30s, I would say, I can almost remember, I was probably like 35 years old.
When it changed?
Yes, when it changed. And for me, it became more of a spiritual concept of love. So then I really wanted to know what was God's definition of love versus the world's definition of love? Because, this is what I see on TV, it's this feeling, it's up and down. And I didn't really like nor did I really grasp that concept. I wasn't doing well with love that way.
My grandmother and my grandfather sat me down and actually told me the true value of love. They taught me giving somebody something is not love. It's not even affection. It's only pretty much what a person is actually can give to that person at that moment. It could be an opportunity, it could be a gift, it could even be time. But none of that actually consists of love.
So a lot of times we frame what loves us based on the counter effect. So if you sent a note and you said, "Do you like me?" check yes or no. Everybody wanted that check yes. So it was the reciprocation. So it was the back and forth for me.
For me, it was really organic and seamless. I don't know if I really thought about it too much. I think it was more so, with my mom giving me and showing me love and giving that to me, I think I naturally just gave it back to other people that were close to me or that I felt like were, valuable, were, what's the word I'm looking for? Eligible for that love, or
they earned it,
or they earned their love. So my brother, my sister, my grandparents, people that were close by me, they just naturally got that from me.
So when you first developed your first concept of love in your early 20s, who influenced that, would you say, or what around you influenced your development of that?
I would say friends, the television, what we see on TV, just society, relationships that I had seen, maybe even my parents' relationship played into that a little.
Okay.
I watched my parents and my grandparents.
Okay.
So I actually had 2 generations to actually look at when it comes to my grandparents. When they get upset with each other, they're always saying they never have an argument in front of the children. They never have an argument in the bedroom. Those are two values that they always stuck at. And when they did have an argument, we never knew nothing about it. But if it was like cold silence, I was like, oh yeah, they must have got into it. Compared to my parents, they argued in front of the children and this and that, and I shouldn't be with you and everything like that. But the concept I was actually getting at a young age, you guys had children together, but you guys can't even stand being with each other.
I think society has put a lot of different factors on what love means today, and I think it's lost a lot of its core value. It's more of a, trendy, like couples goals and hashtag this and hashtag that, whereas real love is that work, the times where it's not fun, where it don't have that glamour to
I
it.
didn't always make the best decisions when it came to love. Like, I probably was searching for love for all the wrong reasons. Like I said, I need to find the right person because, I want to get married because that's what you're told you're supposed to do, and that's, you've accomplished that, the marriage and things like that, and you have your children and things like that.
Like, that's supposed to be it.
It's what's supposed to be. It's what's right?
When I talk about, or when I think about relationships as it relate to, romantic relationships, I think that initially those things were conditional. Like, I had to have certain things in play for me to, fall in love, or to extend my love, because I felt like my love was valuable. Because when I give it, I felt like, I'm gonna give it all the way. I'm not gonna go halfway with it.
And that's what a lot of people get misconstrued, where they thinking that they falling in love with somebody, but you're actually falling in lust with someone. Then all of a sudden, if she actually comes up saying, I'm pregnant, or if she's actually coming up and saying, well, I'm late. That he's like, well, what you gonna do?
Right.
But the thing is, she thought this person loved her. They spent so much time together. You spend time with her kids and everything like that, but the only thing you was doing, you was an opportunist. You was only wanting the lust, not the love.
First, I had to really love myself. I had to work on that for years. I thought I loved myself, but no, not the way that I needed to love myself for me to be able to share that love with someone else. I had to learn me. I had to get to know myself so I could open up to love.
And so I think once you become a parent, you have a different concept of love, because that love that you have for that child, it is unwavering. At a moment's notice, you always think of your spouse or your significant other that you would put your life on the line. But once you have a child, for a fact, you'll do whatever you got to do for that child.
I have relationships in the church that I just gave because, or I had love for them because of my love for Christ. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't necessarily have to earn anything. It's kind of like I assumed a certain relationship or a certain thing with these individuals. And it often worked. It was fine, but it was a little bit different when I think about the opposite sex.
So now I look at love on a whole different level, from a different perspective. To me now, it's a choice. Definitely, it's a choice. Something that I'm choosing to do, and something that I chose to allow into my life, in the form of marriage, I would say. It's something that I feel like it's worked at daily, right? And then I learned that it's an act of service. I had to really understand if I wanted to be open up to serving another. To truly love someone, would I be ready to be of service to this person? It's a selfless act. I had to realize that to share in love with someone else, it wasn't just about me and what I was looking for.
The first stage was, I was always taught, love myself first. You have a lot of men that don't even love themselves, but they'll pretty much stick their thing in everything that actually moves. But they're not hygienic. They don't keep themselves groomed. They don't even pretty much open the door for a woman when they actually see. You have to love yourself, because the thing is, you have to respect yourself as a temple. That's the first thing I actually learned. The second thing I actually learned what's the true value of actually love? So the true value of actually loving someone is actually enjoying somebody's company. If I can love actually having a conversation with this person, it could be over a cup of coffee, hot cocoa, or just talking to this person over the phone. That means I'm loving the experience of actually talking to them.
Before the physical.
Before the physical.
Okay.
So I'm actually just talking. That's where all that starts off. Because the thing is, you got to get somebody comfortable enough to go ahead and open that door, let down that barrier, and let them take you out. Because sometimes it don't get to that point. A lot of people just like, hey, can I just come over? They don't even want to court no more. You don't want to actually go for a walk or a slice of pizza or anything like that.
Yeah. What does love mean to you then?
For me, I would say sacrifice. And that can come in, different forms, whether it be time, finances, energy, effort. So you have to find somebody that's willing to sacrifice those things for you and vice versa.
If I say that I love this person, she has somebody that's passed away, I need to make sure I'm making myself available for that person. I need to make sure that I'm there for them. I make sure I'm speaking life into them, doing everything it takes to love on them or to exercise or illustrate my love for them, because I said that I love them, and so it's not just saying that you love somebody.
It's the action.
It's an action. It's a verb. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's an action word. You know what I'm saying? So you have to put into action what you're saying. Whereas younger, I felt like I could just say I love you, and they understand and they know. But when you're older and things happen, stuff pop off, you have to, you have to be there. You have to do it. You have to make sure that you're there for a person. So I think that's probably the biggest thing that's kind of changed over time.
Once I loved myself enough, that was the type of energy that I attracted. So I feel like I wouldn't open myself up to anything else anymore that would feel so damaging. 'Cause you don't want to associate love with the negative.
Right.
So once I loved myself enough and I knew truly what I was looking for, then I was able to set healthy boundaries. And then I was able to let the right type of person who was able to give me the right type of love into my life. I had to love myself unconditionally. And I had to be okay with who I truly am, what I feel like I deserve. And I really had to have some conversations with myself, so that I would open up to what was right for me. Yeah. So that was a hard work. Like, I mean, literally, words of affirmation to myself, vision boards, visioning, the things I had to do for me, to really build that self-love. And then once I was able to do that, I felt like I was able to protect my heart enough to know what was good. Yeah, to filter through the good and what I consider to be maybe not so good for me.
The evolution actually came when I actually seen that a woman had the same values, or her values were even more advanced than mine. Where she actually was told by her father, that he's the standard. A man should have a job and take care of himself and actually loves you and treats you unconditionally. Even when he's having a bad day, he never takes it out on you. So when you actually get that and you actually see somebody that actually matches that, or even can still teach you certain different things, that's even better.
My mom was there and she gave me what she could, but I don't know if a woman could truly show a man how to love a woman. If that makes sense.
No, it makes sense.
And some people might disagree with that, but I honestly feel like you definitely need both of them. But I think that as I got older, I think I saw things that I felt like my dad needed to show me and to tell me to effectively have a relationship with a woman.
Early on, we don't really have, especially for different households, if you don't have a very good example of what love looks like, then you mimic what you see, whether that's good or bad. And so I think now the movies have made love seem like this magical, mythical thing. And don't get me wrong, it has its ups and its downs. But a lot of times you don't see the part about love where it's staying up. Yeah, well, it's staying up, having those difficult conversations, helping somebody unpack their childhood trauma, or working through issues as an adult. Because as you grow, you change, and so I think a lot of times I've heard the saying that says most men marry their wife for them not to change, and most women marry for their husband to change. And so it's a balance, because each time you're changing, you gotta hope that person's gonna love the new version of you.
The 3 to 4 years prior to my marriage that I'm in right now was that cycle that I was going through of self. Just reflecting on myself, learning myself, building myself up, and developing that wholeness. Yeah, gotcha. I cycled through that. And then I felt like, okay, I think I am truly ready this time, because I learned from past experiences of what I did wrong.
The first thing, and probably the most important, is to trust God and to lean towards God for instruction and for definition, for provision when it comes to love. To understand, I think God is love and love is God, you know. And I know that sounds kind of cliche. Everybody probably gonna say that, but it's real and it's true. And I can only speak on that because of my relationship, my personal relationship, my personal experiences with God. And I'm not speaking on what somebody has told me. So I think that's the first thing.
I would add more to it.
What would you add?
I would add more willing to actually learn from not only my evolution, but a woman's evolution.
Okay.
Because the thing is, a woman actually, she goes through certain different levels, as a man goes through certain different levels. But me being a man, I don't know what she actually goes through on the day-to-day. So if you actually get into a misunderstanding with a woman, you're not going to understand where she's coming from. She's going to tell you where she's coming from, but you're a man. You're going to be like, I don't understand. So you're going to be, when you tell her how you feel, it's never going to be a true understanding. Where now I'm actually learning certain different things, or sometimes a woman wants to some time to herself. She wants to go ahead and actually knowing that at the end of the day, she can come in and actually get a hug from you, and knowing that everything is going to be okay.
It should be, a safe space. That's important, because I think a lot of times in relationships you're trying to live up to unspoken expectations. And so I think as long as you're creating a safe space for you and your spouse to bring whatever issues, are going on, whether it's things that you didn't even think you needed help with, you can, at least have a sounding board. And you're not going to be judged by what you say. You're going to get a certain level of support. And you're also going to get a certain level of encouragement. Because I think a lot of times, especially for men, we've been sort of put in this box of we can't be this way, or, you've even heard in arguments, be a man about it.
Express.
Yeah, and it's like, well, be a man about it. Well, what does that look like? And I think so many times men have sat back and bottled up things that have led to arguments, it's led to anger. Like, you see a lot of young men walking around here with this level of aggression because they haven't been taught, one, how to process their emotions or how to deal with it. And I think when you find that right person, then you can have somebody to say, hey, how does this, look to you, or help you understand, or even see your flaws. Like, I think the best example for a lot of marriages is that when you find your spouse, they can also be your mirror. And I think a lot of people don't want to see that, and that's where the turmoil in relationships come. Yeah. Because you don't like what you see.
Right.
Yeah, it's a whole lot easier. What they say, it's a whole lot easier to point that one finger than to look at the three pointing back at you. Yeah, it's real. Right. It's real. And I think a lot more people, if they invested in doing the self-work first, they would have a better understanding of how they should come into a marriage and what they should do.
Or just a connection, period.
Yeah.
And I even looked at it from like compatibility, and you can be compatible with a lot of people. Yeah. So that wasn't enough. I'm compatible with a lot of people. Just because I'm compatible with you doesn't mean that you're right for me. I had to find the person that was suitable for me. So I think it's a difference in the two. So what did I consider to be compatible at first? Maybe someone who had a similar worldview as me. Maybe they wanted children, or maybe, you know, they felt like, you know, maybe they were of interest. Like, that's how I am. You know, maybe it was a person who was a little more extroverted, because that's how I am. They were spiritual and they had these things, you know, I could check these things off the list. Okay. So they were compatible if I'm just looking at my list, you know. I got you. We are compatible here, we like the same things, you know, we have similar interests, you know. It didn't mean that person was suitable. I had a lot of people on my list of compatibility that I've dated. I've been married before, so I'm remarried. And then I was able to see that although this checklist is here, I had to dive deeper. So the faith part probably played in a little bit more when it came to what was suitable for me. And somebody too who actually defined love similar to the way I did. That wasn't on my list before. I didn't know what this person's definition of love was. I just know that we were attracted to each other. We liked the same things. You know, we were similar in a lot of ways. We wanted a lot of things out of life that, you know, we were compatible on. Yeah. But this person over here was a little more suitable for me because they really understood how I felt about love, and they were able to
meet that.
Yeah. So it kind of balanced out.
I think it is important to understand matters of the heart. I think that and to feel matters of the heart. I think that, you know, we should be a compassionate people. You know, understand what people deal with, what they go through, and not only understand it but empathize. Put yourself in people's shoes. And what if that was you? How would you want to be treated? What would you need from a person that, you know, in the situation where you may be dealing with something? So empathize. Put yourself in that situation. You know, so understanding the matters of the heart. Understanding, you know, what you personally would look for when you need.
You know what I'm saying? No one's actually being taught anymore what love truly is. So when that question does come, you know I mess with you. Why you asking me that? They'll get defensive before they even answer the question. And that's why in a lot of ways, people really truly find love, true love, when they're in their late 40s, 50s, because they finally actually took the time to be patient, to learn what love is all about. They're not chasing after love anymore. They're letting love come to them.
It's kind of like learning new things. So you have this knowledge you get. Like, so I did all this research and soul searching. I'm learning myself and I have this knowledge. But this marriage has given me the opportunity to apply wisdom to that knowledge. So I'm implementing it. So I'm acting on it. No, it is continuously growing. It's continuously changing. But that foundation remains the same. You know, so that is what I think. Yes, we're continuing to grow. We'll always be continuing to learn one another. But like I said, again, I think it's just that suitable mate. I feel like as I'm living in it, I'm learning more. Yeah, continuing to grow. Yeah. But I'm more willing to do things that probably I wouldn't have done before in this relationship because I feel supported. So although love involves feeling, right? Yeah. I can still choose every day to love this person because I know this person truly supports me, and I can feel that. Right. Yeah, even when we have our differences, it's not it's not all roses. Right. I don't want to paint that picture.
We understand. We have those debates
because we are so suitable. A lot of friction is not there.
Last question I had. We were talking about sacrifice as a definition, or one of the definitions of love. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think that means that you're willing to put the needs of your partner before your own. So that means that whether you have something as simple as a plate of food, you're willing to look at that plate of food and say, it's important for me that your life is easier if I split this plate down the middle. You get half, I get half. And you can look at that from a financial standpoint. You can look at that from an emotional standpoint, because there's going to be days where you need more emotional support than I do, and there are gonna be days where I need it more. And so it's just about sacrificing for the greater good. And that's important, that you have a spouse that can see when you need that versus somebody just giving it to you just because they're supposed to. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you were able to relate or get a better understanding about how some people perceive love, and even take a step back and look at your own concept about love and how you show it to others. Again, I'm Latricia Marie, and until next time, peace.